Economic motives of colonization. Colonization was often driven by economic interests. European powers, during the Age of Exploration, sought to establish colonies for several reasons. Wealth extraction. Many colonial ventures aimed to exploit the vast natural resources of the newly discovered lands, including precious metals, spices, agricultural products, and raw materials. These resources were seen as sources of immense wealth. Trade dominance. Colonizers aimed to control trade routes, establish monopolies, and increase the volume of global trade. This often involved the establishment of fortified trading posts and naval dominance. Labor force. The availability of cheap or forced labor from colonized regions, such as the transatlantic slave trade, fueled economic growth in the colonies and at home. Market expansion. Colonizers sought new markets for their manufactured goods and agricultural products, thereby stimulating their domestic economies. Economic impacts on colonized regions. The economic consequences of colonization on colonized regions were complex and often detrimental. Exploitation. Colonizers frequently exploited the resources of the colonies without proper compensation, leading to wealth depletion and economic underdevelopment in the colonized areas. Economic dependence. Many colonies became dependent on their colonizers for manufactured goods and financial capital. This dependence stifled local industries and limited economic self-sufficiency. Forced labor. The use of forced labor, such as slavery, indentured servitude, and coercive labor practices, was a common practice in colonies, leading to severe human rights abuses and economic imbalances. Cultural disruption. The imposition of foreign economic systems often disrupted local economies and traditional practices, leading to social and economic instability. Economic impacts on colonizers. Colonization also had significant effects on the economies of the colonizing nations. Economic growth. Colonizers benefited from the vast wealth extracted from colonies. The influx of resources and revenue contributed to economic growth and expansion. Industrialization. The raw materials from colonies were essential for the industrialization of Europe. They fueled the growth of industries such as textiles, manufacturing, and shipbuilding. Global trade networks. Colonizers established extensive trade networks, connecting their economies with other parts of the world. This facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. Taxation and revenue. Colonial enterprises often generated significant tax revenue for the colonial powers, contributing to the fiscal strength of their governments. In conclusion, colonization had multifaceted economic impacts on both colonizers and the colonized regions. It led to wealth extraction and economic growth for colonial powers but often resulted in resource depletion, economic exploitation, and long-lasting disparities for the colonized areas.